Delicioso day. Delicioso day.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, and perhaps even good evening. Thank you so much for dropping by and joining me for another exciting session of 3D Shenanigans. I thought I was in the mood for a little bit of 3D work this morning, or actually all week, really, and I just haven't found the time to get this done. It's been something that's been on my mind for a while, so I thought, today is the day. So no gaming. There's going to be a little bit of 3D stuff, and that's going to be nice. Working over 3D stuff. I have been planning to put a little skeleton into the booth of my title sequence that can kind of, wave at us. That's the plan. And we'll see if we can make it happen. It's a toon skeleton from 3D Universe. So, wish me luck. See if we can make that happen. But good morning, everyone. Mr. Nico. Oh my God, that is just crazy. Congrats on the new card once again. But that is not good. First the water cooler blows out. And now the struts. What are the struts? I don't even know what the gas strut is. I hope, do I have that on my monitors? I don't think I have that on my monitors. One of those things. I hope you're going to get it fixed. Kemi is here. The Chris is here. And I do also agree we could do with some animated emojis here on YouTube. That'd be really, really cool. The Yoshi is here, of course. And have I forgotten anyone? The Sacred Sage from Florida. Wonderful to see you. And anyone else who's out there watching, thank you so much and welcome. Let me perhaps start by showing you what I have in mind. So I've done something like this for the Daz Pro Artist stream. These are the titles for that. And if we go and look at the beginning here, somewhere over here, it is the skeleton who is moving his hand there just a little bit. So it's a bit of an experiment that I've made there, and I don't know if I think I'd like to animate him more. I only had a very short animation here where he just waves his hand. So that's the thing that I like to accomplish today, and this is all done in Blender, but I'd like to make the animation for the skeleton in Daz Studio and then bring him out and you know, have him basically sell tickets there. Stretch goal. There's also a bit of emptiness here in the auditorium, so I perhaps would like for the mouse to be here at one point, and a popcorn vendor who can, you know, sell him popcorn. So we'll see if we can make that happen. There's also this corridor here where ideally, perhaps not right here, but at the end, kind of here, I'd like for somebody to just walk forward so that we can kind of see them walking forward here, or just somebody walking from left to right in front of the screen. And then ideally, stretch goal. That's actually probably the easiest one. I'd like for 2 or 3 people to sit in the auditorium so that we can, that they're basically waiting for the show to start. That is my plan. So let's see how much of that we can get done. I thought I had to put some music on. I don't actually hear it myself. I can hear it. Can you hear it? Something in the background. I don't want to make it too loud because it easily distracts from what I'm saying. So let's do that. So 2 things then. First of all, let's go and find the correct title sequence in Blender. That is, you know, you can hear it perfect. I don't want to make it too loud, you know, it's easily distract. So one of those things. I can just make it louder in my headphones here. So first challenge of the day, of course, finding the correct Blender project to amend. Let's see if we can find that. I think I'll start with the J Plays title sequence. I have 3 of those, actually 4 of those, and each of them looks slightly different because the pictures always change around. I'm also going to put my little highlighter thing on there. Chris, how are you today? I haven't quite followed your recent streams because I got so busy, but I hope you're doing well. As soon as I have time, I will go and jump back in, of course. Chris is streaming very regularly over on Twitch. If you haven't followed him, I strongly suggest you do. You can always pick up a nice tip and find out how Marvelous Designer works in conjunction with Daz Studio and how Blender works. And it's just wonderful to hang out there, so I highly recommend it. Now, where is that? In Blender projects, J Plays titles. Was I organized? J Plays version 22. That could well be the latest one. In January I've made that. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's start with that. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. Yoni, it is so important to have a good plan, isn't it? How the plan then comes together is, you know, up for debate, and it's always a bit, with the 3D projects, creative visions and what comes out in reality is always a bit, you know, they might differ. God, I look so tired, don't I? Crazy. I am a little bit sleepy, so I'm gonna work out first how long my animation needs to be, because I think last time I made it a bit too short. Because ideally we want the guy to animate from here all the way to, he could stop with the pose just when we whiz by, but really we're probably looking at a 300 frame duration, and that's at 60 frames a second. So 300 frames. Let's see if we can puzzle something together out of poses that we have in Daz Studio. Is he even installed? Let's have a look. Let's find out. Toon skeleton. I'm sure he'd be under, he might be a figure. The good thing about working with these types of older figures is that Oh no, he's called Grim, actually. He's not called the Toon Skeleton, he's called Grim, I believe. I thought he was, with 1 or 2 M's. Dang. I thought he's called Grim the Toon Skeleton. It could even be that he's not in smart content, that we have to look at him as a poser figure. Because if he's not showing up here, he might be in here. In the poser formats. Figures, 3D universe, Toon humanoid, Grim, there he is, perfect. So it's a poser format thing. I like it. And there's Grim and there's his code, so I think I'm gonna go and just have him there with without the code for now. And of course he comes with poses. It's been so long that I've been using these types of poser hierarchy menus here, but hey, still available, still working inside Daz Studio. So we have these several poses here, and I think I can just animate some of those together. Like, you know, that's kind of nice. Trying to sell you tickets. That's probably a good starting pose. Oh, nice. That's good. Yeah, I'm thinking this might be a nice starting pose here, and then we can take it from there. Like have him hold the pose for a second, and then transition into another pose, and so forth. And maybe 1 second isn't quite. That might be too short. So maybe I'll go make it 2 seconds. So with 300 frames, if we're looking at 60 frames a second. In fact, let's go and do all that calculation here inside Daz Studio. So let's go and put it to 60. And then we'd like for the total to be 301. And therein then lies the whole timing thing here. So if I have maybe 100 frames per pose, and then maybe kind of 10 or 20 frames of a transitional pose, that might be nice. Or maybe like 80 frames. We'll see what that looks like. It'll be fairly easy to slow that down or speed that up if we have to. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe we'll start with this. Put another keyframe here on frame 80, and then maybe we'll go and transition via over 20 frames. Let's go. Let's try this pose. Shall we do that? Does that work? It is totally not working the way I had expected, which is a shame. And this is probably, there we go. Yeah, that's not what I meant. I meant this. I'll just, instead of using keyframes, I'll just put the same pose in again, so he can go and move from here to there. And then this is a little bit of logarithmic interpolation there. I'm okay with that as well. Then maybe here on frame 160, we'll go and say he's going to wave. Debatable if we wanted to animate the hand. I might even leave that on a little bit longer and then just go keep animating the hand here. And then I'll maybe set another one here, and then over a few more frames, like those many frames, I'll go and transition him into this, because that's a nice welcome gesture, I'm thinking. And then we'll set that as a last one as well. What does that look like when we play that back? And then at least he's, you know, he's moving around in there while he's selling tickets. That might be kind of cool, I'm thinking. Let's see if I can make that work. Bring that into Blender and then go and marry it up with my Blender scene. So it's going to be an experiment. There's 2 ways of doing it. Ideally, you'd export this as an FBX, and then you would go and just import that in Blender and everyone's happy. But in the real world, that often doesn't work. So if it doesn't, then I might have to go and export this as an OBJ sequence. So if it doesn't work, then we may puzzle something else together. But hey, that's the plan. Miss Camilla is here. How's it going? Good to see you. So also very important, let's go and save my project. I think that's another very important thing to do. Do I have anything? I don't think I do. Let me go and make a new new project library for this so that I can keep the Daz scenes together. Maybe should I put that on my desktop? Desktop's already a bit overloaded, but that's okay. I'll go and call this one the skeleton animation. Well, yeah, skeleton animation. Yeah, let's do that. And just so that I have a new folder that I can add here. Add base directory on the desktop. And also note to self, back these things up. Back these things up. I'll put that in here. Skeleton animation, here it is. And I'll dump everything into the root directory. I'll save that out as a whole scene. Skeleton v1, I'll call it. And don't compress the file. We're all good. Sebastian is here. Very good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for the wonderful comment on my bike video. I'm glad you like my bike, even though you can't quite see my bike when I'm talking on my bike. So, but I'm glad. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. I love this skeleton. I've always loved him. I had him animated with the eye, so I've made a really nice eye animation once, like a few years ago, in which his eyes kind of move around like as if they're looking around. I don't quite remember what happened to that animation. It used to be on my overlay, but I've removed it because it was just a bit too cluttered. But yeah, he looked really cool. I've had so much fun with him, and let's see if we can put him into Blender. So let's go and see what happens if I export this whole thing out as an FBX. Maybe Blender can take that. Let's try it. I haven't tried that out. I'll put that also on my desktop on here, and I'll make a new subfolder for that called FBXs. Autodesk FBX. We'll call that test version 1. I just don't even know if it's gonna work or not. I'm gonna try the latest binary version of FBX 2020 that we have available here. We would like to embed textures. If I don't do that, the originals will be referenced. Those are all really interesting considerations. I might embed the textures. Collect textures to a folder. Should we do that? If we do that, then we may have to go and save the guy somewhere else. That makes this accessible to Blender if and when I move that folder from the studio. So there's all these considerations. Let's not actually do this. Let's see if it works in principle. I selected no hidden and just the figures. Allow degrading. We're all good with that. Except, let's see. Textures, we'll worry about that in the next step. First of all, can we actually bring this in to Blender? And also what happens when I bring in the animation and then move it around? What happens at that point? So in here, import FBX, as you'd expect. Skeleton v1. Let's see how the size differs, if and how it does differ. I'm going to use the defaults here. Custom normals, there's manual orientation, animation we want. I'm going to leave that unticked, and we'll see how that comes in. If and how that comes in. Oh, there he is already. That's neat. He might look a little bit broken. I'll go and switch most of these things off. The wall can probably stay there. Do you move, my friend? Do you? No, you don't. So that's a bit of a problem already, isn't it? So FBX is not your friend. I thought it might not be. Great. So that's already a big no-no. Glad we've tried it. I might actually not even worry about FBX then, and just go and try to do this directly with an OBJ sequence then, because that does not transfer the rigging. That transfers literally a series of OBJs, not so much full OBJs, but deltas. That's probably going to work better. And let's try that out. There's always something. Could also be something with the FBX settings, but by the time I've worked out the correct one, it'll be 2079, and I might not have time for that. So I'll just use a new backup option here, OBJs. And for that, I'm gonna go and save out the first OBJ of my skeleton. I'll call him skeleton V1. And scale, Chris, remind me, how did what did we do with the scale again? Is this guy, does he need to be 100 times larger, or does he need to be a 100th of the size by the time he gets into Blender? I think it was 100th of the size, wasn't it? I think I export him as 1%, I think, but I might be wrong about that. Hey, Mr. Dillage, how's it going? What's better for animation, Daz Studio or Blender? Export at 1%. Yeah, I thought it was correct. Invisible, we don't need to... We'll write everything, that's cool. Leave everything as it is. Just see if that works. So that's number one of the puzzle. Now we need to go and export the rest of the animation. And that... I do that by saying... Is that what I'm doing? Export MDD by animate. So it'll turn into, it's basically just an MDD sequence. I'll also call that skeleton V1 with MDD ending. And that will also be Daz Studio, and we're going to do that at 1% as well. Ignore invisible nodes. Yeah, that's a good idea. We don't have any, but that's good. Let's do it. And we're not going to worry about his hands sticking into his hips there. We're barely going to see that. Also, the curled up fingers, and we're not going to worry. We're totally not going to worry. It's just something moving in there. Skeletons, Meg. Yesterday we were slashing them. Today we were bringing them into Blender. So one of those things. Wonderful to see you. The bridge. No. I wouldn't touch the bridge for this. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't trust it. But that's just me. I'll go and import. So the beauty of doing it this way is that there's no messing with armatures or things that might come in differently and rigging, and it's just all completely independent. We have one OBJ that we bring in. That size should be good. Oh, these things, there's some residual things there from last time. I'll take care of that later. This is just a quick test here. So he doesn't move, but if I now go and import the MDD, light wave point cache, on top of this, then I think start frame 532. Why would that be? Wouldn't start frame be frame 0 or frame 1 even? And step 1, I'm thinking. Let's see, shall we? This may or may not work. Yeah, I might tweak that. I might not even care. He's going to be so small, we're barely going to see it, Camilla, but well done for noticing. It's more like a workflow test at this point and see if it works. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the animation as it is or if I'm going to make changes. We'll work it out. Let's see if it works in principle. And then also, is he in the right position? What happens if we need to change the position afterwards? I think that's another thing that is easy. We can just put the first frame into the correct position and then load in the MDD cache. And then the animation should work. So MDD cache is a little bit like adding, rather than having a skeleton in the figure that'll move the geometry, we're essentially doing it with morphs on a per frame basis. I believe that's how the MDD cache works. Alembic, I don't think Alembic is gone. I think it's still available, isn't it? There's an Alembic exporter for Daz Studio, Dillage. Blender takes a bit of time here. Good that we're patient people, huh? No, I think it's an exporter actually. It's a thing you have to pay for. I think, let's have a look. I think the Alembic exporter is a pay for add-on, because I don't think it was made by the Daz people. Alembic exporter, $89.95 today. But it is often on sale. So it says it's a Daz original, but I thought I saw somewhere, oh, this product is no longer updated and is sold as is, so something else to be aware of. If they're mentioning Victoria 6, so then that's Genesis 2 generation. I don't know if it still works with Genesis 8 and 8 and 8.1 and Genesis 3. So yeah, that's the thing that gets you the ABC format out of Daz Studio. But it's an exporter only, so it's not an importer into Daz Studio. Aha! Hey, that's good, because 300 frames, this is exactly the duration that we had in mind. It doesn't do it in 60 frames a second, so it doesn't do it in real time. But I think this will work in principle. We'll check out if and how the materials have come across in this whole process as well. If they have, I mean, he's not lit up at the moment at all, because in the booth that he'll be standing in, I don't think we have a light for him yet. He's not actually in the booth. Gotcha. So we might have to put a light in there as well. I thought I had put a light in there. Perfect. So he might be illuminated, he's just not in the correct spot, and I think we may also have to scale him up a little bit and put him into the correct position. But just to check his materials here, is he looking handsome? Handsome enough? He's kind of looking handsome enough, isn't he? He has some materials on him. And are we doing this with the GPU? No, we're using... Yes, we are. Good stuff. Do we want to denoise the viewport as well? Yeah, there we go. So it looks like he has his creamy type materials on him, so I'll just leave him to it. I'm sure there's things that we can improve on him. I'm not sure about the cracks that we see on his skull there. That could just be a smoothing shading setting in Blender. Yeah, I've come across this before. I've forgotten how to fix that. Do you remember how to fix that, Chris? I remember this. And it had something to do with the smoothing angle, I believe. Didn't it? He got triangulated, the poor guy, yes. This is so funny. I don't know why, but Jeremy, good morning, by the way, good evening. Your message was held for review. Riddle me this. What is it that tripped off the bot here when Jeremy said "G'day, mates" and put a kangaroo icon? What did the YouTube bot have against that? That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Let me see if I can. Let me just go and bring the theater away and see if I can do the smoothing angle. Was that? Where was that again? I think it was on him somewhere. These are the shape keys, so these are essentially like morphs. If you're familiar with the Animorph script inside Daz Studio, this is how it works. So he has a morph per frame, and it'll get dialed up depending on which frame we're on. So if I'm looking at the last one here, frame 300, it's currently set to 0. But if I put my playhead to frame 300, you'll see that well, I'm on frame 298 now. 97, and this is where it gets dialed up. So this is how that works. This is why he animates, essentially. Where is that again? Object data properties normals. That's it. Exactly. Normals. Auto smooth. And we just go and switch that off. Is that how we do that, Chris? Is that how we do that? Go to a frame where we see the issues. I switch off auto smooth and no, it's still in place. Dang. I don't think it's the normals, Kemi. It's the, that's interesting. Thank you, Yoshi. Thank you for testing that. It is in fact the kangaroo icon that the YouTube bot does not like. I like it. And if I go and untick this and change it to different value here, auto smooth, and just go and change it to something else now. That doesn't work either. I'm sure I made a note of that on my website. This is where I frequently go to check these things. Auto smooth. Now, of course, I haven't made a note on this occasion. What a shame. That is a shame. But I'm sure, Chris, it was something like that in this area, and I don't quite remember how to get rid of that. Certainly wasn't anything about the remeshing. I thought it's just, you know, switch it off and it comes good, but it doesn't seem to work in this case. It could be rude. That could be, yes. Maybe that's it. I have no idea. I just remember it used to be a fairly simple fix, so I think I might leave it for now and just see what happens if I go and put this guy in the correct position now. And see if the animation is in place still on him. I think it might be. I think we may even be able to scale him and still animate him. That's also usually causing massive issues. So he needs to come forward a little bit. I think we might, yeah, we might. And then in the Z, we don't actually probably need to scale him. It's just that he needs to be in the correct-ish position. And we just play with the height. We don't see his feet. If we move him around, the animation stays in place, which is kind of nice. I like that. I like that. So then, just to follow the camera along in the rendered view. So yeah, the first few frames we don't actually see him at all. And then as we approach him here, is that cool? Could he be turning towards the camera a little bit? I have a feeling. Yeah, so I think we need to have him turning around a little bit. Since we're not keyframing this, we can do it literally in situ. So RZ turn you to turn you. I think, dude. Oh, come on! Don't be difficult about this, man. He doesn't want to turn. What's going on? And as he does this, I'm thinking maybe the position could also be slightly just further to the right. I'm thinking while we're here. Like so, is that believable? with Blender in full render, sometimes it just goes and takes a second to catch up here. But yeah, it's working. It's working. It's working how I had envisioned it. So that's really nice to know. That's really nice to know. In the preview there, we just see the glass, but that's nice. We see somebody and something moving in here. So it doesn't really matter that the animation isn't 100%, but yeah, made it work. Woo! I love it. Let's go save it already. I'll say maybe version 23 sounds like a good plan. Woohoo! Okay, the first goal has been reached, even though we couldn't figure the smoothing thing out. Maybe it's not actually going to be all that noticeable in the final render. So as I approach the last frame where we see him fairly large, let's just go and let's render one out and just evaluate it from there. With emus as in the birds, Camilla? No way! To hunt them down? That's crazy! So this is actually working in our favor. We have the depth of field thing here going as well. So I think we're going to be okay. And this is with 200 iterations per frame. So that's probably going to be good for the final render. For previewing purposes, we're going to be okay. We're going to just see this guy so quickly there. It's gonna work. It's gonna work fine. Just fine. I'll put the max samples to 50. Just go and render another couple of frames. Just so that we see the denoiser kick in faster. So depth of field on a moving camera, you always have that, something is always going to be a little bit more shallow, and I've taken great care of animating the depth of field here, so we're good. I think this is nice. I like it. I like it. Happy about this. That only took us 40 minutes. That is not bad. That's crazy, Camilla. Unbelievable. The poor emus. So who won in the end? Australia or the emus? I remember many years ago at Harrods, I was living with two other guys back in London from 2000 to 2001. I think we rented a house together, and one of my flatmates was into eggs of all kinds, like scrambled eggs, like just for eating, you know. And he had this, I wouldn't say fetish, but he discovered these extremely large chicken eggs, and he really liked them. As scrambled eggs or as boiled eggs, he was really into eggs. And I thought for his birthday, I got him like an extremely large egg, but that wasn't a chicken egg, it was an emu egg. I was going to buy an ostrich egg, but they didn't have those at Harrods, but they had emu eggs, and it was green and extremely like large, you know, it was massive. And it was only £10, so I thought, hey, that's a really good birthday gift for him. And he was super happy about this, and we had it for breakfast one day, and it was so large it fed literally 4 people or so. There was so much egg. It tasted good, but it's just like chicken egg really, but it was just opening it up. It's not like, you know, a fragile chicken egg. You can just go and bang it on the table, or you can put a knife through it or whatever, but that didn't work with the emu egg. It was so, the shell was so extremely thick that we had to use quite a bit of force to open it up, and if we ended up having a little saw or like a really sharp knife or something that we sawed the top off so that we could pour out the eggs. Kind of crazy. You need a hammer to crack it. You're right, Kemi. We had great trouble. We thought, I don't want to be, when I transported it home, like on the tube back then, I made sure it's just like a precious thing. I didn't want it to break. Had I known it was so resilient. Hammer and eggs. Crazy stuff. Oh, eventually the military had to pull back and realize it was pointless. Yeah. Nature, you know. Good stuff. I like it. Hey, so we don't need to fix the triangulation on the skeleton. It seems to work fine, so that's nice. Let's see if on the, do we have the thing open still? No. I'll show you on the on this then here. So then the stretch goal, I guess, there's something that needs to happen in here, but I'm not entirely sure how I should make that happen. So on one hand, I could have my mouse literally walk in here. That would be good. That would be really nice. He might also be too small. There could be another skeleton that just stands behind the counter here. That might also be funny. He doesn't even need to animate, even though it would be kind of cool to have him do that. Maybe it could be the same skeleton in his cloak, so we have that as well. That's a neat way of doing that. I'm thinking if he were to be behind here, like behind the counter, there's enough room for somebody to stand here and, you know, sell the popcorn. I'm thinking that might be nice. Let's see how that would look. So in here, I might go and rename this here. So it's kind of, it worked as a nice animation. I might just go and rename this so that I remember. I'll say skeleton tickets V1, and I'll start a brand new scene. And this one doesn't even have to be an animation as such. It's probably enough if he's just standing there. Oh, this was in poser formats now, wasn't it? Thankfully, he's the only poser person I have installed here. The Deviant, top of the morning, buddy. How you doing? Let's give him the cloak here. That might be nice. You know, that's a nice way for somebody to sell popcorn. There's Toon Mouse is here as well, so we'll see. Maybe he's going to wear his jacket. That might be nice. Toon humanoid. Let's see. XRPL1 Naiman Bayou Surpati. Thank you so much for subscribing. That is quite a name, my friend. Enjoy the channel. Thank you for being here. So maybe he just needs to stand here like so. What do you think? Or like that. Like, look at my wares. Or he's just going to stand here like, you know, idle. Or like that. I don't know. Or like that. Maybe just like that. Maybe that's nice. Maybe I'll export him like this. What do you think? I have a feeling it's probably going to be nice to have him either way. Like this would indicate we have it all. I could even animate him again, so I could just transition from that to that. That might be good. Since it is only morphs, if it would work, then, you know, that would be nice. How long do we need him for? This animation here. Oops. So we'd probably see him kind of here. So maybe from frame 300, and then he's actually in vision for quite a while. So yeah, maybe we do need him from here to 600. From 300 to 600 we would probably see him, and then in that time also over 300 frames I'm thinking maybe the mouse can go and walk from here over to here. But I might not do that with a Daz animation. I might try that with a Mixamo animation. Don't know if it's going to work, so we'll see. But technically, if we were to see him, we might already see him a little earlier, like from 250. It's one of those things, I don't want to create too much work for myself. And I can also go and just try to do this in Blender and just animate the shape key in Blender. I don't have to have a 60 frame animation at this point. It could just literally be just him interpolating between two poses, so that might also work. I might try and do that. That I just animate the shape key directly inside Blender. I might do that. So let me try and export him out in 2 poses then, as this and as that. And as long as the geometry is the same, it should let me import this as a shape key. Let's see, shall we? Let's see. Dillage, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate that, man. So, export skeleton with cloak. And that's not going to be MDD, that's just going to be an OBJ, because we know it works as 1%. And then the second pose is going to be him like that. I don't know if I need to export the code separately or if that's part of the figure. I think it is. I think they're going to be combined. I'll call this one skeleton cloak pose. And we'll see if that works just as well. It might not be. He does, doesn't he? Steampunk Belladonna, how's it going? Very good to see you. It's been such a long time. Always nice to see you. How's your fella doing? I don't know where he's going to come in here, but this is where he needs to. This is where he needs to stand. Let's go and make the cinema invisible. In fact, the whole thing. These are all the lights here. That is quite crazy, isn't it? So we can make those invisible as well if we wanted to get rid of them. Just for positioning purposes here. I might go bring him in on the first frame just because it's an older habit of mine, making sure we're on the correct frame. Skeleton with cloak, OBJ. Let's see where he is. He's probably in the scene center. Yeah, there we go. I thought that. Whoops. Dude. G, Shift, Z. Wait, what? G and Shift Y, sorry. No, that's correct, isn't it? Shift Z should be that. Whoa, that's interesting. Why is that? Blender, Z is up. What are you doing, buddy? Oh, it's because I'm using local coordinates. Ah, ha, ha. Good point. So G, Shift, Z will do that. Yeah, perfect, yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha. So that's him without materials. Let me check the shape keys first of all. Those are actually 2 separate figures now. I should rename these things. There's also these things in here. Those are, I don't know what they are. They're kind of empties here. I'd love to get rid of them. I don't know how to do that in Blender. They just lurk around. This is from an earlier test. So I don't know what to do about these guys. And so this guy here, that is the ticket skeleton. I think I'll call him Skelly Tickets, and then this here is the popcorn vendor, so Skelly Popcorn, and then this is the Skelly Cloak. Some good treasures hiding there in these old products, you know. He's doing very well. That is good to hear. Yes, it's weird, isn't it? How you get used to those extremely scary medical procedures. I mean, dialysis that's major, and he has to have that. Is that twice a week, or how often does he have that? I remember a friend of mine back in the UK. He was waiting for a kidney transplant, and during that time, he had to be on dialysis. They started him off with twice a week, but that wasn't enough towards the end, so he had to do it almost daily, and the travel time to and from the hospital was just insane. So in the end, check it out, the NHS gave him a dialysis machine installed in his home, which is so cool. And he did get the transplant, which was good. There was like so much drama going on there because he's a type 1 diabetic, and they didn't want to give him a new kidney because the argument was, well, you're going to be dead soon anyway. And you go, yeah, that's can't really think that way. And it was crazy, but in the end he got one. So it's my goodness, 3 times a week. Yeah, that's quite a lot. I wish him well. I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad he's hanging in there, and I'm glad you are too. It's just so important to do this together. So I'm so glad to hear it. The rope traveled with him. I have not Deviant. I've not used the Face Motion 3D plugin. I haven't used it yet. No. I've heard about it. It's kind of cool, I think. Now, the shape keys. How do we deal with that again in Blender? I think, and don't quote me on this, this is pure experimentation. It has to do with this here. I think this is where the shape keys live. There's vertex groups here, shape keys. I think the way I do this is essentially a way to import a morph into the figure, and I might have to do this for the cloak and for the skeleton separately. We'll see how it goes. I think I need to go and create this first, and this is my base shape key. That means I can now have derivatives of this, I think. Is that right? And if I go and create another one, how did that work again? Join as shapes transfer. It's been so long that I've used it. Do I just go and create another one? But then how do I import that? This is just when I make a change, isn't it? That's when I make a change here, but this is not necessarily how I would import a morph target now. How did I do that again? Oh, I don't remember. How does Blender deal with morph targets? I know shape keys are kind of part of the puzzle, but how do I import a new OBJ and stash it as a shape key? How do I do that? Oh, Polygon Parrot, I'm glad you know about this. Please tell me how it works. Click on X target, exactly, and then sculpt. Right, okay, that's so if I wanted to import another OBJ and make that the morph, how do I do that though? I knew about the sculpting, but if I had a second OBJ that I'd like to import as a morph target, how does that work? ZBrush does it. I'm sure Blender does. Can we work out how to do it? Because it would have to do something with, maybe it's even, is it happening in edit mode even? That we go and import something like a, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Import both, then make the shape key. Curious. Really, Chris? That is interesting. I love it. Let's try to work that out. So I'll import the second one. Then I have 2 figures in the scene. So this is skeleton with cloak pose, I believe. He is, where is he? He's all the way over here. Okay, I've moved him now. Okay, let me just go and undo that, and also go get rid of you and get rid of you, because I suppose my other issue is that they're both the Skelly who's selling tickets. We don't need to see him. Let me just try this again from scratch without moving him. So I'll go and move. I'll import him. Might be difficult because they're 2 objects, so I might have to do this twice, but it's okay. We'll work it out. I'll just quickly rename him to Skelly Popcorn. And this is the Cloak Popcorn, just so that I can differentiate from the other guy. Now I go and import the other one. Is that correct? Rotoscoping in Carrara. I don't think I've done that. That does sound cool though. Rotoscoping, I'm familiar with the concept in regards to 2D images, but I've never tried it with 3D images. How would that work? Just as a concept in 3D, how does rotoscoping in 3D work? Is it like on a 2D image, it means isolating a character from a green screen or something? But I don't know what it would be in 3D. Okay, I'll go to Skelly Popcorn here, and I'll go and create myself the base shape key. And now I'll go and create another shape key, which is going to be, the shape key. I'll put this to maybe 1. And now, how do I tell Blender this is now, use this other shape as that? Chris, how does that work? New shape from mix? Mirror joiner shapes, transfer shape key. Copy the active shape key to another selected object to this one. That could be it. By just saying select the other skeleton. That doesn't work either. Do I need to maybe then select it? Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, sorry. Transfer shape key, maybe that's the one. Is that it? I'll try that. That's what I thought, Kemi. Yeah, that's the rotoscoping that I'm familiar with. Expect the other selected mesh object to copy from. Yeah, how do I just go and select them both? I'll go and make the cloaks invisible, that we just deal with the skeleton. So we're on this guy, and do I need to go and Control select the other guy? Alt select the other guy? No. Maybe Shift select the other guy. I can't work it out. I can't work. It's Blender's, hey, we try to be as unintuitive as we can. Import a morph target into Blender. See if we can figure it out. Perfect, show that. Also, minus YouTube. I love just reading things. How to import morph targets into Blender. Please help us out. 3.js. Try and import Blender 2.65. Import one mesh, create a shape key as a base shape key. We're on the right track. Import a second compatible mesh, select the second mesh, then shift select the original base mesh. Then on the shape keys panel, click join as shapes. Repeat to join all shape keys to get one base mesh. Curious. So we were kind of on the right track, weren't we? So he reckons create a shape key as a base mesh. Got it. Import a second compatible mesh. Got it. Select the second mesh, then shift select the original mesh. And on the shape keys. Gotcha. So select the second mesh, shift select the original mesh. Then we say join as shapes, really. Oh, and then he goes and makes his own thing here. That's cool. So we can go and, I guess, remove that. We go and remove this guy. Now we have that morph target. And we go, yes! Oh my god! It is full success! That is exactly what I was looking for. Also, that is how that works. That, I would have never worked that out. Indeed, Camilla, I make YouTube tutorials. I don't watch YouTube tutorials. I do watch them, but not while I'm making another YouTube tutorial, in a way. I mean, the trouble is that sometimes I just deal better with text with dissecting text when I'm in the moment than pausing what I'm doing and watching something else. It really doesn't work for me. True, indeed, yes, indeed. But yes, I do like YouTube videos as well, like we all do. This here, can't we rename that? There's got to be a rename function, because that's not a good name for that. Rename? Not in the menu. I just double click. Yeah, there we go. Double clicking works. So we'll call that just pose instead. But so then the other thing is I need to do this for both the cloak as well as the this guy can go then, can't it? Yeah, perfect. I need to do this for the cloak as well independently. So let's go and use the cloak, make a shape key. See if I can remember that. I go and make the base shape key. That's correct. Then I have the other cloak object. I select that. Then I shift select the previous object, which then makes that the last selected object. Blender, why? Why? Then join as shapes. Why not just call that function import morph target? Like, you know, we would understand that. But it's, you know, it'll work. This guy goes and does that value, does this, so it follows along. Nice. Aha. And I'll call this cloak pose. Goody, now we can animate these things. This guy can go away, I think. Perfect. My God, I've learned something new today. Oh, Sacred Sage, that is so nice of you. Well, Kemi, I suppose it depends. It's like if you had a fully fledged animation that could come in as an FBX file, that would also be neat. So we could use that. So I think it depends on the situation. Here, I'm thinking because I just want the guy to move a little bit. I'd like for him to. I think a full animation would be a little overkill. So we have another problem, of course, is that the materials are. They haven't come across, because this robe that used to be black on his thing, but that could just be a color. So I don't know if there was a on the cloak, if we had an actual texture. Outer cloak diffuse. Do we have texture? No. Yes, we do. It is a texture, but it has such minimal detail. I'm thinking I'm just gonna use just a black in the materials, because I think everything else has some kind of a color to it. So let's try and give the cloak the color it deserves. That would be under shading, perhaps. Cloak outer, that's the one. It's a base color. If we just make that not completely black, but just something like a charcoaly type dark gray. That'll work. Emission is off. I'm just checking it. It's just the default principled BSDF shader. That might just work. And then in the rendered view, we're probably okay, won't we? Kemi likes the white robe. Okay, we can always see what it looks like in situ, and also with the skeleton on the inside. I think his shape key is that dialed up? No, it's all good. It's just supposed to work okay with one another. Let's see what it looks like in situ with the cinema visible and the lights visible as well. Cinema, come back here. And the lights. Oh, he's not in position. I totally forgot about this. He's not in position. So we need to move these two guys kind of towards here. It'd be ideal if I could parent one thing to another. But I think that's also something that I've tried once and it didn't work so well. Come on, Blender. There you go. You're back. Can I select two objects and just go G, Shift, Z and they both move? Do they? Is anything moving? Do they both move? Yeah, there we go. They both move. Moved him a little bit too much, so there. He's too small. What a shame. He needs to kind of stand like this here. Since we don't see his feet either. What happened to his other hand? It's like the cloak makes... Oh, because the cloak's in a pose. There. The cloak's in a pose and the skeleton was not. That's okay. Yeah, we might make him a little bit bigger as we go into the He's standing in front of the hot dog there. I don't know if I maybe want to see him just here, maybe more. Yeah, I think it was a good position. That might work in that position. And just animate him here. That'll work, right? I'm thinking. He's a shorty. Ah. Wilton, how's it going? Wilton Santos, welcome to the stream. Good to see you all. It's a nice turnout. I think did we have a lot of fun yesterday with Elden Ring? I thought that was kind of cool to play that. I'm so bad at it though. There's literally another 2 years of training that I have to invest for me to become good at that game. Yeah, Skeleton's warming his buns. Let me see how we can animate him then. The two shape keys. So I think first we just go and animate the shape key value. I suppose is 0 good at the beginning. We're going to start with the first one. Actually, it doesn't matter. He could just alternate between these things. Let me just go and keyframe this. So I'll just hover over this thing and hit I, and then same thing with the popcorn skelly, because we have two separate ones. This is also going to be I, and this just has keyframed one value there. And then maybe up until here, we're not going to actually see it change. Frame 200 and, yeah, 220, I like it. So I'll set another I here. And on here as well, so nothing happens between those two things. And then we can go and gradually transition to the other one. So 0 I as well. Scaly popcorn. Oh, has he done that here as well? No. Did I make a mistake here? I think I may have done. The sun's moving in here. That's cool. So up until here, we're going to leave everything as it is. Maybe we'll see the mouse start moving. Let me go and set another keyframe here and here. And then we'll go and transition again to about here so that he goes and moves. And then here the skeleton itself as well, since we have two objects. and eye as well. And then we might as well just leave it there. So then we could just have him animate off again as we leave vision. That might also be neat. So he's doing this. And then maybe just as we scroll back, let's go and animate off that again. So 2 keyframes here. And then here we'll go back to that. And then there's movement. And there's enough subtle movement that we didn't really have to worry about a whole animation. He just transitions between this and then back to that. I can see it working, friends. I can see it working. This is actually very nice. Let me go and oversave this. Ha! I'm excited. I'm excited. So there's only one thing I don't really know how to deal with is these things here up in the scene tab here. If any of you know how I can get rid of these things, please do let me know. Ticket Skelly is of course here, but these things here, they've been brought in from an earlier attempt, and I just if I delete them, they just hang around. They just can't be. They're like empty nodes. Oh no, actually deleting them. Does that work? Does that work? My goodness, that does work. Oh, yay! This is good. Let me go and save that again. Gets rid of the clutter here. I'll make a new collection as well for the skeletons, or perhaps for all the animations. Hey, that's neat. I like it already. We've got one guy in here. We can't see him in the real-time vision here, but come on. He's here. You can see him in the ghost vision or in the rendered view. And we also have this guy here. So then, while we're in the auditorium, shall we try to animate the mouse maybe with the jacket on? I don't know how easy that is going to be. One skeleton front of house, one skeleton selling popcorn. And he animates too. Ever so slightly subtly. Look at my wares. You don't want to buy? Go see the movie. I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm very chuffed. I'm glad I can do this together with you guys. So stretch goal, mouse, and one person moving along here, just walking, and then a couple of people sitting on the chairs here. I was considering to use fully fledged Mixamo characters for that. So not use Daz characters, but use the characters that come with Mixamo. So for the sitting poses, I'm thinking that might be a nice idea. But mouse first. Let's see if we can make the mouse move, bring him into Mixamo, and then have a little walk animation, just a short one, where he just goes and traverses there. We'll see how that works. Michael, good point. Yes, I do actually. I'm currently still exploring Horizon Zero Dawn, and I will go and stream more of that, and hopefully we're going to go and see the end of that story. And after that, I'm very much up for Forbidden West. That would be really, really nice. Love to have a look at that. This week I've ordered a PlayStation Pro because I can't get my hands on a PlayStation 5. The Pro is a little bit better than the current PlayStation that I have, so I'm interested in seeing what Forbidden West looks like on that. So stay tuned for that. She is actually Victoria here. This girl, Kemi. This comes with the movie set. If you buy that i13 movie theater, I think I have a group here. I put walls in front of it, and I think oh no, is it actually tech here? That's a tech. There we go. That's my animation that runs in front of it, just on a plane. But yeah, I think it's Victoria in there. I like to replace this as well. The J Plays animation that plays in on the wall. I think I might replace that with something more swanky, if and when the time comes. So yeah, that's the default image that comes with it. Yes, it's the i13 movie theater. It's an oldish set. And I've converted that 2 years ago or so into, this is it here, movie theater with poses. I think I converted that 2 years ago. Before there was a bridge, I literally did it all manually. Yeah, this is it. And put that into Blender. And I had terrible problems getting the materials to look okay. I've replaced various textures on it, but you know, it was nice. Oh, there we go. She's standing here. Ah, get a little bit of inspiration here. That's nice. We have a skeleton standing there. And this is all rendered in Daz Studio. And my challenge at that point was to see how does a set come over into Blender, and what do I need to do in order to make that presentable. And also rendering it out was a little bit faster to do in Blender than it was in Daz Studio at the time. And I kind of stuck with it, and I keep updating it every so often with new movie posters and stuff on the outside and new projects that I do. Oh, you use BVH, Deviant. That is cool. That is something that I haven't explored yet. I might go and leave this open just so that I remember how this works later. Mixamo. And the mouse. Let's see if we can get the mouse with his code animated in Mixamo. Let's see if we can do that. Because I have a feeling, because it's such an old figure, I wonder if that's going to work just fine. Toon Mouse, he's also a poser figure, so let's bring him in. And the waistcoat, because he's going out, I'm thinking, let's go and have him grab his waistcoat as well. And the eye target, I think there was a utility here. I can just go and just make that invisible, like so. The whole eye target, and nothing but the eye target there. And I think also there was a morph that makes his tail curl up, so I might go and use that. Body morphs. There's also fat, which is cute. And there is pot belly, also very cool. There's also fat and pot belly. He has had too much popcorn, clearly. Was there not a morph for the tail? No, there wasn't a morph. It was good old-fashioned hard work. I remember that now. Because otherwise his tail kind of dangles on the floor so much. There are so many tail segments, I could literally go through every single one of them. I might actually do that so that it looks just very smooth here. I might actually start on the outside here. Nope, there's more, isn't there? Yeah, 15, 16. I knew there was. I thought there was a morph here. I thought there was at one point, but could it be on the tail? Morph's tail F. There we go. And that there is. I thought there was. This is probably done with a controller, as it does. It takes care of multiple joints here. That swings it around. And then this curls the background. Okay, cool. I thought there was. So we can just go and have that. And just have his tail slightly bent up. That might be easier. I don't know if the auto rigger can work this out, but you know. Okay, Toon, mouse, and waistcoat. If I select both, will it export this as one FBX? I wonder. Oh, that was not correct. I meant to do this as an FBX. FBX, there we go. And that needs to go in the FBX folder. We'll say mouse V1. And we'll use this. We might just use embed textures in this case. Selected no hidden figures. I might use props as well. I don't know if the code is... No, the code's a figure, so I don't need that. Nice animations, we don't have that. Locks, limits, morphs. Don't think we have that either. Embed textures. Allow degrading. Okay, I don't think he is sub D. I should have maybe set morphs, as the eyes were actually morphed. I just saw that on the export, but we'll see what happens when we go and upload my character here. Could be a total disaster, as so often in 3D. Untick the bind clothing, that was important. Kemi, thank you for the tip. I might do that in the next round. Unbind clothing, thank you for the tip. I appreciate that. Processing character. It certainly imports BVH, Bella. I think it does that. I don't know if it exports it. We can always try while we wait. Does it do that? Export BVH? Does that format exist? It does. So it certainly does export BVH. Does it import it as well? I've never tried that format. I never had access to any of the... Yeah, it does that as well. So BVH is supported, at least in the dialogue. How it works, we'll see. Really? I'll have to look into that. Deviant, I have never looked into that. All right, that looks, I mean, okay, apart from the eyes. And the waistcoat is unbound, so much like Kemi suggested, maybe that was not so good. If it doesn't work with the waistcoat, I'm okay with it. We can always, do without it. I'm a little bit freaked out about the eye, so let's go and try it again. It might not even work with the waistcoat. Where did you even see that? Unbind. I might use the morphs this time though. I don't think I see that, Kemi. Is that what you actually said? Merge clothing, indeed, and merge clothing into figures. Yes, yes, that's the one. That is the one. Yes, 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 yes. Because yes, exactly. Collect textures into folders. Do we need that? I don't know. I don't know if we need that. We can try. It's just because of the loss of eye texture there. Really appreciate doing this together, because it's. I think I said this to Chris the other day. These workflows in 3D, they require multiple brains to make it work. One human brain alone is not enough. I will. Thank you for the tip. That is a good idea. It's a format that I've always avoided, never looked into. I don't really know what it's about. I know it's been used in motion capture, but like Kemi, I don't know if it includes bones or if it works some other way. It might not. It might just relay point data. That's possible. Something else to find out. I can't watch. I can't watch. I can't watch. Oh, he's got his clothing works. The eyes don't, but they're also not the correct shape. Did you notice that? The shape of the eyes are not correct. It's not just the texture, it's also the shape of the eyes. So I don't know why that doesn't work. That's kind of an interesting one. Because I think just upon export we could see that the eyes are not oval and large. Even though we did tell it to, do that. To use morphs. See if there's any other options that we can use to make that work. to merge clothing, merge diffuse and opacity textures. We could try that. That might get one thing done. Convert clothing to static geometry. Sub D, collapse UV tiles. Morphs, limits, locks. Maya helper scripts. Base figure pose only. Animations, cameras, lights. There's really nothing else that we can do there. I mean, another option that we have is to export him as an OBJ, disregard his rigging, and let the Mixamo auto rigger take care of it. That's going to work as well, because it's such a small figure, but that's another possibility that we can try. I'll give it one more go, though. I'll give it one more go. I'll see how it does that. See what happens there with the eyes and stuff. It's just, you know... And we definitely did check the morphs this time, so could be that something's not applied properly. Mouse V3. That is considerably larger than the other two. Interesting. We don't know why. Oh, deviant. I like. Let's do mouse V4. See how that fares. I didn't know how to do that. Really, that's from on here, right? You say? Ay caramba! Is you have to select manually? No. If only I knew which morph we're talking about. No size round. Edge opacity and fill, we're doing that, but we don't need those. I wish I knew what morph we're using there on the eyes. Is it because it's done with scaling and they're not applied? Is that the issue? Because those are all in the head of the figure, I think. I don't actually know where the eye size is happening. There we go. So that's nice. So we have the eyes here. It's just not the right size. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Make sure they're all baked. I'd like to figure out what makes the eye shapes like this. Because there could be hidden morphs. They could be deforms. Yeah, I have a feeling those are them. Yes, it's this. Those are them here. That, and I think the head size as well. It's their hidden morph. So I don't know if I need to expose those, that they become unhidden, so that the FBX exporter can see it. Yeah, it could be that the exporter doesn't see them because they're hidden. Let's delve deep. Let's delve deep into this. Oh, that's the waistcoat. Yeah, I don't even see them in the list here. Let me try that. Let me try just making them unhidden. Let me see which ones they are. These are the, like all of these. Can I just select all of those? Like that? And then say, no, I can't, can I? Let's make it not hidden. Oh, do I have to say accept on every one of them? Hopefully, yes, I have to, don't I? Yes, I get you, I get you. Next, we're going to take the mouse and use R3DS Wrap to wrap him around a Genesis 8 character. I have mouse 2022. Alright, none of these are hidden anymore. If I go and select both the mouse and the waistcoat, let's try this again. Fourth time lucky, huh? Two mouse, and now we have them all here. So how do I enable them then here? Export yes. Is that enough, do you think? Do you think this is enough? Because I can't really... It looks like I can't change any of these to enable. No. I'll just try it again. See what happens. This should... Oh, this is supposed to be this. That might work, right? Might work. Mouse version 4. Now with better eyes, hopefully. With toon eyes. And if this doesn't work, we'll use the OBJ route. I can't watch. Zombie rats. Did you see, Jeremy, there were also mice that we fought yesterday in Elden Ring? Maybe I didn't actually fight them. Maybe I just remember that I did fight them before. They look a bit like him. They're kind of crawling more, and they make you mad, which is crazy. Do you know, I have put my... It's kind of how do I say this? I'm on the waiting list to get a Steam Deck. Have you heard of that? Little handheld proper PC, runs Windows 10 and Windows 11, runs most Steam apps, and I'm excited to put Daz Studio and Blender on it. See how that performs. In the palm of my hand, while I'm in a coffee shop going, yes, that's the default cube. How do I delete it? Do I need to attach a mouse and a keyboard? That would be funny. Come on, mouse. Do your thing. Oh, you have it already. Awesome. Yeah, I should have literally put my order in right away. And of course I didn't. I was thinking, Steam Deck. Months later, go order one already. And now they reckon I might get one in October. So it's okay. Patient man. Patient man. I'm glad you like yours. I see so many games that I would love to play in the palm of my hand. I remember having great fun back in the day with my PlayStation Portable, my PSP, on the way to work when I was commuting on the London Tube. That was really good. And then I also had a Nintendo DS and a 3DS. Dang, it doesn't work. What a shame. Deformer morphs are just not recognized, which is a shame. I mean, we could always just have the mouse without the toon eyes. He doesn't look bad or anything. He would, you know, it's just toon eyes would look better. And of course, I had the Game Boy. Yes, both of them. Actually, this was my first brush with a real games console. The Game Boy. I remember buying that after school for a ton of money. And then just sitting there in a window where the light was just about shining correctly on the display because I didn't have a backlight, and playing the Super Mario, God knows whatever it was called, the first Mario game that came out for the black and white Game Boy. Awesome stuff! Buddy, I'm concerned about your face. It ain't looking so hot. What you look like when we go and he does certainly. That is a good animation. We probably don't want that. It says something like order popcorn. Would that be the animation that we? No, order that doesn't what would be is something like wave, something like that? Would that work? That's not what you do when you order popcorn. Waving gesture, that could be nice. That might work. This is Meg's character here, by the way. Meg is using this in her game project. If you haven't already, you should check out Meg's channel. If she's still here, drop a link to your channel. I don't have a command, but I'm happy to make one for you, Meg, because I really like your little updates. Meg develops a kind of a crafting survival game in Unreal Engine and runs into all kinds of issues, but also into all kinds of solutions. So it's really wonderful to see your progress. And this is the character she's using. That might be a little bit too much. So consider we're seeing him from the side. I'm thinking this is short and sweet, so I might just use this. And we'll see what that looks like in Blender. Let's try that. Download. 30, let's go with, shall we go overkill and do 60? Let's do that, because we're having a 60 frame project. We're going to be all right. Let's try the default and see how Blender fares with that. Try to paste it in, Sebastian. Sometimes links are being suppressed. Sometimes us moderators need to approve it. That might be better, wouldn't it? I don't think I can do it here. I might be able to do it in, I see in Daz Studio I have a tool for that, and in Blender I don't think I have a tool for that. But you can try to put a space into the pertinent places and stuff. That might work, so that we can kind of puzzle it together. Let me show you Meg's channel while I'm here. Does this work now? That doesn't work. Meg does not have a personalized URL, or if so, I don't know it. There she is. Perfect. This is Meg's channel. Have a look at that. So under videos, under her most recent uploads, these are all little updates that she makes on the project that she's working on. And it's really, really nice to watch it from its humble beginnings into what it's turning into. That's really, really nice. Let me go and post that in. And I will also make you, ding, see, I can do it. And I can, I'm going to make you a command, Meg, in which is type in ! Meg, and then it'll work. Righty, let's go and see if my Blender does actually work with this. Do you know what? I might go and open up a new instance of Blender, just so that I can see, does this work in principle? How do the materials come in? And what does this look like? And then if I'm happy, we can bring it into my master project. So let's import this FBX. This was now probably in my downloads folder. As I would imagine, is it waving gesture? Today at 11:38. Yeah, that might work. That might work. Scale. We'll leave everything at 1 and we'll see what comes out. Nice. That looks pretty terrible. That could also be Blender's way of importing this. Let's try again, shall we? Bloody FBX. I hate FBX. It just never works reliably. I hate FBX. I'd love it if we could go and have that new... What's it called? There's a new format. Pixar's done it and Blender supports it already. Is it U3D? Something like that? I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, Deviant, that is a shame. I haven't tried Unreal Engine 5 yet. I'm still sticking with 4 for now, because my brain's full. My time's packed. I have no time to even look at new things. Use pre-post rotation. Maybe we'll go and undo that. And see how Blender fares with that. See? Is better. Is better, no. Goody. The skeleton here, that's just a matter of, you know, not exactly showing that. This is probably from the previous scene, so the waistcoat from the other scene. I haven't quite deleted that yet. So that works. I like. How about materials, though? I don't really exactly see those. No, I don't. Oh, they're coming. Blender is still working on it. And we're not going to worry about the hands digging into the hips here, even though I think I can just go and increase the arm space a little bit. And then all we need to do, since these are only diffuse textures now, all we need to do is take down the glossiness, or crank up the roughness rather. But in principle, I think it's kind of working. What would he look like if we go and whoops, oh dear, that doesn't look so good, does it? I was going to say, what happens if we go and show you from... Why does that work? I mean, not work. I'd rather... Okay, we're going to put him into an empty and rotate the empty then. I just thought maybe I'd like to see the animation from kind of here. If he's kind of standing, facing towards the oh, Blender, come on. If he's facing the stand by itself, then we don't actually see the eyes and we don't really have to worry about that. We can kind of show him from the 45-degree angle, I'm thinking. Why this is only 3 frames a second, I don't really know. But there's so many things where we just say, hey, because it's Blender. It's just how it works. So arm space, a little increase. Hello, make some more. Are we still communicating here? He does, doesn't he? Yes, the Wallace and Gromit look certainly is there. Wave, where's my waving gesture? Well, this was the guy here, waving gesture, that's him. So character arm space, a little bit more. And then we don't have that digging in there. That'll be good. Let's download him. This worked quite well here, didn't it? Doing this at 60 with skin, and Blender was acknowledging the rotation, so I'm happy about that as well. Sorry, the materials, I mean. So the only thing I'm a little concerned about then is, and I'll try that in my new instance here, is this thing about what if I need to put him into a position. So it looks like it'll be difficult for me to do that. So I'll build this out in here first, and then I can go and import this scene into the next Blender scene. That might be easier for me. And also work on the materials while I'm here. Waving gesture 1, there it is. Oh, I totally forgot now to untick the pre-post rotation so that my man stands up correctly here. Under not animation, under armature. No, this one here. Use pre-post rotation, so undo that. Nice. And we just hide that. And we don't need the camera or the light. Well, I suppose we do need the light just for preview purposes here. Wait a second, what's going on? And under my materials, oh, are these all different independent shaders now? I think they are, aren't they? Are they all different materials? Yes. Yes, they are. Gotcha. Since I don't know how this guy's UV mapped, what would be the quickest way to change the roughness on all these surfaces at the same time? Because right now I'd have to go through and literally go take every material and do it on every material. But I'm sure there's a better way to do this. Ideally I'd have one material, but it looks like I don't really know how this guy's UV mapped. I don't know if I can remove all surface zones and replace them with a single one and then just change that. Because there might just be, if it's the same texture for all these things, then that's not a problem. But if it isn't, then, you know, that is a problem. Thoughts, please, my friends. Deviant, yes, sometimes we all, I think mistypings, it just happens so often, doesn't it? What should I do about that? I could try it. I could literally go and remove all these materials and then just leave one and apply that to all. That might be the way forward. I just have a single shader for this whole thing. Because really, all the other option is to change the same value on all these, on every single material. I can't quite tell what the best option is for this. I'm thinking having one material to deal with would be easier. Also, what is the thing that I need to crank up in roughness, isn't it? So yeah, ideally I'd like, maybe not complete roughness, but like something like 0.8 or so, 0.7, 0.75. Is that rad? Just going through everything and just pasting that value in? Can I even do that on multiple? Is that possible? Does that work? By Jove, it works! No way! Does it? No, it doesn't. Don't be ridiculous, it doesn't. Teeth, we don't mind. Whiskers, they might be shiny. Eye target, we're not using. I'll do it one by one, that's cool. Eye pupils might be shiny. Irises, also. Eye whites, eye lights. Inner mouth, we don't care about. Tail. Might actually be benefits to having this as separate zones. Nose could be shiny. I like the shiny nose. Inner ear might be not 100% shiny, but a little bit shiny. That area here. Why not? Inner eye, lips, full body, and fur head. Hey, do you know what? That was actually not so bad. And now the next thing for the waistcoat here. Same thing, just less rough. Then there's the inner and the back. Hey, that was actually, in my mind, that was a major problem. And in reality, it was actually super easy. So, appreciate your Blender. Okay, non-cartoon mouse is here with us. So then the only other thing I'd like to do, and Trust me when I say I always forget how to do that. I'm going to go and create an empty object. And I'll just use the arrows here. Do I like the arrows object? I don't think I like the arrows object. But an empty object. Maybe just plain axis. Circle, cube, sphere, cone. Something like that. Plain axis maybe. Single arrow. How's that? Single arrow. Perfect. So I'm going to go and put my toon mouse into it so that the animation runs inside the empty, so that if I wanted to move the position, I don't have to move the mouse because that screws up the animation. I'm going to move the empty. But how do I do that? Particles with hairs. This is crazy. How did I do that again? Because I remember that's difficult. There's also this whole thing about one object needs to be selected first, the other one last. And I cannot for the life of me ever remember how Blender thinks about this. If we just had a test object or two. Let's say we have a cube. And let's say we had a cone. And let's say I'd like to parent my cube to the cone. This is a major thing in Blender because it's just so weird. So I think I choose the cube first, then I control select the next guy. No, I'm going to go and shift select the next guy, and then I'm going to hit control P and say object. Is that right? And then the cone is parent, is the parent. Gotcha. So in my mouse's example then, I'm going to have to go and select everything that makes the mouse first. Like so. Then I shift select the empty. And then I hit control P and say object. And then this happens. I have a feeling that is not what I want to do. Let's go and do that. I think it's control P and then keep transform maybe? Is that it? That could be it. And now as we try and animate, are you animating? Little guy's animating, that's good. Albeit at 3 frames a second, we're okay with that. So he does this. So now if I go and grab my empty and go and move this elsewhere, the mouse should move with it, but alas, it does not. What a shame. So that has already not worked the way I wanted it. This is why Blender and I don't really get on. Because it just doesn't do what I wanted it to do. So how about I select this whole shebang here, G Shift Z, and move him over here. Yeah, that also then just breaks him, doesn't it? So that's a puzzle, and I don't really know how to deal with it. How would I move him now that with the animation is all in place? Ah, Mr. Chris has a tip. I like it. Select all the faces and assign one material if all the... Ah, okay, that was the material thing. Well, that is a puzzle I don't know how to fix. Not easily, anyway. Could it be that I need to control A and apply all transformations first? Is that something that might help us out? So G, Shift Z, move him. No, that's still doing that. That is a puzzle because I don't want the animation to be in this frame. I could try something else, and that is to use an action strip for him. Michael, yes. Absolutely. It's the reason why he explodes. He's had too much popcorn. So this is another thing I could do in Blender, and I don't remember how to do this, but you can turn this animation into a non-linear strip and then just use that strip and then put it into other places and then move that around. So that's a possibility. With Kinect, wow. I tried that, but it didn't seem to move the figure, Chris. Let me try that again. So just the steps here. This is how I'm doing. And tell me if I'm doing something wrong here. Shift A, create an empty. I'll use just a single arrow. That's my empty. Now in order to make that the parent, I think I need to go and select everything that's in the mouse. Then I'll shift select the empty and hit Control P. And then I'll say object keep transform, I think. Then I should be able to just move this. And it still does the same thing. At least now it does it. It didn't do that before. But it still does the same thing. So I don't know. Does this have something to do with the origin point of each object there? It's a tricky one, isn't it? What other ways of putting the animation into a different place would I have? I mean, nobody wants the animation to be in the center of the world. Deviant, neither am I. That's kind of why it's a bit like working out a really complex video game like Elden Ring. What do we do next? We don't know. It's kind of like it's why it's a bit like a video game, isn't it? Yes, that could be a major stumbling block. I mean, I did document my findings on the... I'll leave that tab open here for now. I did document my own findings on the action strip editor. But I also remember it was difficult. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that in a different tab so I can go back. Because if I do that, then I don't need to see my own adverts here. But that's actually something that any supporter of mine can do. If you don't want to, if you frequent my websites often and you don't want to see the adverts, and if you are a supporter, then do register on. There's a little article here on the top right that shows you how to do it, and then register. I'll approve you if I can link your name to a recent donation, and then you don't see adverts on my website. I think that might actually be the solution, doing it with action strips, but that also looks like a project that I need to read up on. I'm so glad I do take all these notes, because without it, it'll be really difficult for me to see. This is 2 years ago, and I cannot remember how to do this, so it's always good to take notes. I'm not sure, Kemi. I don't know. Are you up for it? Maybe around 5 o'clock on Twitch. I don't know. That would be something. I might be up for that. Yeah, I think I've hit a bit of a stumbling block then here. Because this would be true for all the animations, all the sitting down animations in Mixamo. I'd have to go and move them out of its default position. And currently, I don't know how to do that. Let me try something else before we wrap it up for today. There's once I figure this out, I'll be able to do it for the other characters as well. But I'm thinking I'd like to have a few people sitting in the audience, and I'm happy to use these types of characters for it. So rather than my own uploaded characters, I'm happy to use the Mixamo characters and just grab 2 or 3 out of those, because they're fairly low poly, and I've never tried them for anything, so Sometimes Mixamo just, you know, balks out, so... Not every day, Sacred Sage, but every once in a while, like when I can fit it in or when I feel like it. On Twitch, that's kind of afternoon from 4 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's kind of my slot. I'd like to do it more often, but there's you know, I just have so many commitments. It's not often easy to fit that in. Yeah, but when I do it, I do it at that time. And there's a Twitch link, exactly. Thank you, bot. That's good. Wonderful. Yeah, so we're going to just see these low poly characters sitting down. Any of them will do. Or should I just use Daz characters for that? I mean, the trouble is if I use these guys, I have the same issue with having a Mixamo animation that needs to be in a different position than I had before. So if I wanted to have her sitting down, I suppose that's under animations then. She could be watching a movie. Oh, actually, this is more like a movie watching gesture, isn't it? But I don't really need the whole animation. All I need is a still pose. But an animation would be cool. So I don't know. And we'd see her kind of from the back, sitting at the auditorium. Like 2-3 instances of her, and then maybe a guy. Sitting on Louise. Okay, good. That's nice. We like that. Louise can also be 60 frames. Why not? Let's go all out. There is a little... So when you follow someone on Twitch, Kemi, there's a way that you can also press the bell icon. It's a bit like on YouTube. If the bell icon is ticked, then you get notifications. There's also browser notifications that you get. That's a separate thing. But if you click that bell icon, then you should get emails. I do also usually put a notification on my Twitter. So if you want to follow me there, then usually you get notified when I do something on Twitch. So if that's Louise, let's see if we can find someone else. Like maybe a guy. See, like he's a prisoner. We can't have him. You don't have a top on, so it can't be you either. Shirts must be worn in the cinema. He's mocap suit guy. I like it. Passive marker man. You can't have... You gotta take your work suit off, man. You can't wear that to the movies. Even though that would be kind of funny. Fancy characters, thieves and all that. How about him? You look like a moviegoer, sir. Sir, yes you are. Nice. You and Louise, I can see you guys being good friends there. Good stuff. So something else that's sitting down. That would be extreme. In nervous anticipation, also good. We don't worry about the hands too much, I don't think. That looks more like painful. Him standing up, that's also a nice idea. As he's just sitting down and getting into place. Also not bad. That might be cool too, but then, you know, maybe I want... Sit disapproval. No, we don't want disapproval, we want approval. We want happy people in the audience, if we do have any. These are all parts of, if you wanted to string them together. You like that one? I think I like that one as well. The one with the, like this here. Sitting and pointing, I think that's nice. Let's use that then. I'll download him with that. Yes, and then I'll read up on the action strips and I'll see if I can make it work so that we somehow move the Mixamo animation into a different position. I have a feeling it's probably got to do with going into an NLA and then moving that, because I think that is how I did it with the dancers in the dancer animation. There were all Cinti characters with Mixamo poses, and that worked quite well. I've just forgotten how to do it. So my friends, I will say goodbye and good night and good morning and have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll see you maybe later on Twitch. That might be nice. I can't promise anything. But if I'm up for it, yeah, then let's do some Elden Ring there. See what else we can discover. Other than that, I will probably see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for either more of this or more Elden Ring. We don't know yet. Yeah, but I'd really like to finish off my my animations here in that little title sequence, and populate it with the people that I had always envisioned. Have a wonderful rest of Sunday. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Take care, my friends. Bye bye.
Stars first, go for love, go for more boys for stars first. Diffi government thing. Go for love, diffi anything need to fool. Go for love, Delicioso day. Delicioso day.